The world ends not with a bang, but a blinding flash, a searing light that outshines the sun, a flicker on the screens of global powers, a momentary lapse in the hum of technology, a blip of intelligence, then the launch. The decision made in the blink of an eye, irreversible. ICBMs, silent and cold, ignite, clawing their way into the sky. Their engines roaring with a deadly purpose, a macabre ballet of destruction choreographed by the hands of fate. Politicians scramble, their faces pale, their words choked with the bitter taste of regret, knowing the consequences of their actions. It's too late. The die is cast. The clock ticks down relentlessly. The countdown to Armageddon has begun, an unstoppable march towards oblivion. Within minutes, the first missiles breach the stratosphere, piercing the veil of our atmosphere, their shadows stretching long and ominous across the unsuspecting world below, casting a pall of doom. No time for goodbyes, no time for prayers. Panic spreads like wildfire. The sky, once a canvas of serenity, becomes a canvas of terror painted with the hues of destruction, a grotesque tapestry woven with threads of fire and fear. Each explosion a stitch in the fabric of despair. Hope, once a flickering candle, is snuffed out by the cold winds of annihilation, leaving only darkness in its wake. The initial targets, major cities, pulsating hearts of humanity. Moscow, Washington, D.C., London, Beijing, once symbols of power and progress, now marked for obliteration. A blinding flash, brighter than 1,000 suns, engulfs the targeted zones. Buildings evaporate, steel and concrete vaporized in an instant. The very air screams as a monstrous shockwave, a battering ram of pure energy, races outwards. The earth heaves and groans, its crust ripped apart like a fragile eggshell. Millions perish in the blink of an eye. Their existence reduced to shadows and dust. The lucky ones vaporized in an instant, spared from the agony to come. And then silence. An eerie, deafening silence, broken only by the whistle of the wind through the ruins of civilization. 5 minutes, just 300 seconds, 180 seconds. Time, in these moments, becomes a cruel joke. Time ceases to have meaning. Every second stretches into an eternity as the world grapples with the unimaginable. The collective gasp of humanity echoes through the void. The initial blasts are just the beginning. A nuclear winter descends, shrouding the world in darkness. Radioactive fallout, a silent killer, begins its insidious spread. It seeps into every crevice, every corner. Invisible particles of death, carried by the wind, contaminate everything in their path. No place is safe. Water, food, the very air we breathe, all poisoned. Survival becomes a desperate struggle. The living envy the dead. Despair grips the hearts of those who remain. Survivors emerge from the rubble, their faces contorted in horror, their minds teetering on the brink of madness. They wander through a nightmare. The world they knew, the world they loved, has vanished in a maelstrom of fire and fury. Nothing remains but ashes. The lucky ones? They died in the initial blast. Their suffering was brief. The unlucky ones? They have 5 minutes, maybe 10 before the radiation sickness kicks in. Their agony is just beginning. The initial 5 minutes are just the prelude to a long and agonizing demise. In those fleeting moments, the world as we know it changes irrevocably. The world has become a graveyard, a desolate wasteland haunted by the ghosts of billions. The echoes of their lives linger in the ruins, a haunting reminder of what once was. The survivors, scarred and broken, are left to pick up the pieces. They wander through the wreckage, searching for remnants of their past lives, clinging to memories that now seem like distant dreams. The psychological impact is immeasurable. The weight of loss and the burden of survival press heavily on their minds. The trauma of witnessing such utter destruction, the sheer scale of devastation is beyond comprehension. The loss of loved ones, the absence of familiar faces leaves a void that can never be filled. The fear of an invisible enemy, it will leave an indelible mark on the human psyche. Every shadow, every sound becomes a potential threat. We, as a species, are capable of great love, great compassion, and great creation. In the darkest times, our humanity shines brightest, but we are also capable of unimaginable destruction. Our capacity for violence and chaos knows no bounds. The first 5 minutes of a nuclear war are a stark reminder of that terrifying truth. In those moments, the world teeters on the brink of annihilation. Let us hope that we never have to witness such a day. Let us strive for peace, for understanding, and for a future where such horrors remain only in our nightmares. For in the ashes of nuclear fire, there will be no victors, only survivors. And those survivors will carry the weight of the world's mistakes. And survival in such a world may be the cruelest punishment of all, a constant reminder of what was lost and what can never be regained.